Let's get straight to the point. Understanding people is one of the most valuable skills you'll ever develop. Think about it. How many of the challenges we face in life come down to interactions with others? Whether it's building meaningful relationships, dealing with difficult personalities, or simply trying to connect with someone on a deeper level, so much of our happiness and success relies on how well we understand human behavior. I've spent years observing, learning, and even stumbling through my own interactions with people, and let me tell you, it wasn't always easy. There were moments when I felt completely blindsided, like when someone I trusted let me down, or when I couldn't figure out why a conversation went south. But over time, I realized something powerful. The more you understand the hidden truths about how people think and behave, the less frustrated, confused, and hurt you'll feel. Knowledge truly is power, especially when it comes to navigating the complexities of human nature. Here's the thing. People aren't as unpredictable as they might seem. There are patterns, psychological truths, that once you know them, will change the way you see the world. These truths don't just make life easier, they make you stronger. They help you spot red flags before they turn into problems, give you the tools to connect with others on a deeper level, and most importantly, teach you how to stay grounded no matter what life throws at you. I know this because I've lived it. There was a time when I felt like I couldn't handle people's expectations, moods, or even their opinions about me. I used to think, why is this so hard? Why can't people just be easier to deal with? But then I realized the problem wasn't just out there, it was also in here. I wasn't seeing the bigger picture. I wasn't equipped with the tools I needed to understand people or myself on a deeper level. That's when everything started to shift. The best part? You don't need a psychology degree or years of training to unlock these insights. What you need is a willingness to learn and apply timeless principles. That's where Stoicism comes in. It's not just a philosophy, it's a toolkit for life, one that helps you approach every interaction with clarity, strength, and calm. When you combine these ancient teachings with modern psychological insights, you get a roadmap for mastering the art of understanding people. Here's why this matters so much. When you understand people, you free yourself from the chaos of reacting to their actions. Instead, you respond with wisdom and intention. You stop taking things so personally. You become someone who radiates confidence and calm, someone others respect and admire, not because you're perfect, but because you're steady, grounded, and real. So, if you've ever felt misunderstood, underestimated, or just plain stuck in your relationships, know this: you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not powerless. The insights we're about to explore together aren't just theories. They're practical, actionable truths that you can start using today to transform your life and your relationships. Let's get to it. Here's where things start to get really interesting. When it comes to how we see ourselves, we're often our own harshest critics. I've been there. I know what it feels like to pick yourself apart over little things no one else even notices. But here's a fascinating truth. Psychological studies reveal that people tend to see you as 20% more attractive than you see yourself. Let that sit for a moment. While you're busy scrutinizing every perceived flaw, others are noticing qualities you probably overlook completely. Why is that? And how does it tie into something as profound as Stoic philosophy? The answer lies in self-perception and how it shapes not only your reality, but the way others interact with you. It's a concept that has the power to change everything. When I first came across this idea, it stopped me in my tracks. It made me realize how much of my own life I'd spent trapped in a distorted view of myself, seeing less than what was really there. But when I began digging deeper into Stoic teachings, I started to understand how this self-perception wasn't just a personal issue, it was a choice I could actively shape. Let's break this down. The way you see yourself isn't just about what's staring back at you in the mirror. It's about the thoughts you carry, the beliefs you reinforce, and the energy you project into the world. Think about it. If you constantly view yourself as less than or unworthy, how do you think that influences the way you carry yourself? Your posture, your tone of voice, your level of confidence, all of it is tied to the way you perceive yourself. The Stoics knew this well. They understood that the mind is the starting point for everything else in life. Epictetus famously said, "You are what you repeatedly think." When you think poorly of yourself, that thought pattern becomes your reality. It shows up in your actions, your interactions, and even the way others respond to you. But the reverse is also true. When you begin to shift your self-perception, when you start seeing yourself through a lens of acceptance and inner worth, you create a ripple effect. Others pick up on that energy. They sense the confidence, the calm, the self-assurance, and they respond to it. I learned this firsthand when I began working on my own self-perception. It wasn't an overnight process, but it was worth every bit of effort. I realized that my insecurities weren't facts. They were stories I'd been telling myself for years, and the more I challenged those stories, the more they began to lose their grip on me. I started showing up differently, not because I'd magically changed who I was, but because I'd changed how I saw myself. Here's the connection to that psychological study. If people already see you as more attractive than you perceive, the real issue isn't how you look, it's how you think. That's where Stoicism comes in like a guiding light. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you're constantly feeding your mind with thoughts of inadequacy, that's the color your life will take on. But if you begin to cultivate thoughts rooted in self-acceptance, gratitude, and inner worth, you'll start to see a different reality unfold. One of the most powerful practices I've found is journaling. It's simple, but it works. I started by writing down 3 things I appreciated about myself every morning. At first, it felt awkward. My inner critic wanted to fight back, pointing out all the reasons those things didn't count. But over time, I noticed a shift. Those little moments of self-appreciation began to add up. They started to change the way I saw myself, and as a result, the way others saw me too. Another key piece of this puzzle is learning to detach from external validation. This was a hard lesson for me. For years, I thought confidence came from what others said about me. If someone complimented me, I felt good. If they criticized me, I felt crushed. But Stoicism teaches something different. It teaches that real confidence comes from within, not from what others think, but from knowing your own value. When you let go of the need for constant validation, you take back your power. You stop relying on others to define your worth. This shift is life-changing. It's not about arrogance or pretending you're perfect. It's about embracing your imperfections with grace. Seneca once said, "No man can have a peaceful life who thinks too much about lengthening it, or believes that external things control his peace." The same applies to self-worth. If you believe your value is determined by things outside your control, like someone else's opinion, you'll always feel unsettled. But when you root your confidence in your own character, your own virtues, and your own choices, nothing external can shake it. Here's one last thought to leave you with. Self-perception isn't fixed. It's flexible. It can change, just like your thoughts can change. If you've spent years seeing yourself through a negative lens, it's not too late to adjust the focus. Start small. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to a friend. Catch yourself when you're being overly critical and ask, "Is this thought helping me or hurting me?" Over time, those small shifts add up. The way you see yourself is the foundation for everything else in your life. It's the starting point for confidence, connection, and clarity. And the best part, you have the power to change it. You don't have to wait for someone else to see your worth. You can choose to see it yourself, starting now. That's the kind of strength the Stoics believed in, and it's the kind of strength you can build too. It's not easy, but trust me, it's worth it. And when you do, you'll see how much the world reflects back what you've chosen to believe about yourself. That's the real secret. When you start seeing yourself in a positive light, everything begins to shift. Your posture changes, your tone becomes warmer, and even the smallest interactions feel different. But there's one simple, often overlooked habit that amplifies this change tenfold: smiling. A smile is more than just an expression, it's a force. It doesn't just transform your mood, it transforms the way people see you and respond to you. I didn't always appreciate the power of a smile. There were times when life felt heavy and a smile seemed impossible. But I learned something profound. A smile isn't just a reflection of how you feel, it's a tool to shape how you feel. It can shift your mindset, uplift your spirit, and even create harmony in the most challenging moments. What's fascinating is how deeply this aligns with Stoic philosophy. Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control, and the simple act of choosing to smile is one of the most powerful ways to take control of our emotions and influence the world around us. Smiling has a direct impact on your brain chemistry. When you smile, even if it's forced, your brain releases dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that reduce stress and elevate your mood. I remember reading about this and thinking, could something so small really make that much of a difference? So I tested it. On days when I felt drained, I made a conscious effort to smile, even if it felt awkward. The results were undeniable. My mood improved, my stress levels dropped, and people around me seemed more at ease. It wasn't magic, it was biology. But knowing this gave me a sense of control over my emotions that I hadn't felt before. What's even more fascinating is how smiles affect relationships. When you smile at someone, it triggers a response in their brain that makes them feel good. It's like passing a spark of warmth and positivity. I've seen this happen time and time again, especially in difficult situations. There was a time when I had to deliver bad news to a colleague. I was nervous, knowing it could create tension, but I started the conversation with a warm, genuine smile. That simple gesture softened the mood, and instead of reacting defensively, they were open and understanding. It was a reminder of how something as small as a smile can set the tone for an interaction. The Stoics would call this creating harmony, and they understood its importance deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote about living in accordance with nature, and part of that is fostering connection and cooperation with others. Smiling is a natural way to build those connections. It's not about faking happiness or masking your true emotions. It's about choosing to approach the world with a sense of warmth and openness, regardless of the challenges you face. Smiling also has a subtle but profound effect on confidence. When you smile, you stand a little taller, speak a little more clearly, and carry yourself with a quiet strength. This isn't just about appearances, it's about how your brain interprets your actions. By smiling, you signal to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. I've felt this firsthand. There were moments when I doubted myself, moments when I wanted to shrink into the background. But choosing to smile in those moments gave me a sense of control and calm that carried me through. What's powerful about a smile is how contagious it is. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to stay upset when someone around you is genuinely smiling? It's like their positivity has a gravitational pull. This isn't just an observation, it's backed by science. Studies show that smiles are neurologically contagious. When you smile at someone, their brain is wired to smile back, even if they don't realize it. I've tested this in everyday situations, at the grocery store, in tense meetings, even with strangers on the street. The results are always the same. A smile spreads faster than any negativity. This is where Stoicism comes back into the picture. Stoics believed in leading by example, in being the kind of person who elevates others simply by how you show up in the world. A smile is a practical way to embody this philosophy. It's a small act of leadership, a way to influence others without saying a word. I've found this especially helpful in moments of conflict. Instead of meeting tension with tension, a smile can disarm the situation and open the door to understanding. There's also a level of self-mastery involved in choosing to smile. Let's face it, there are days when smiling feels like the last thing you want to do, but that's exactly when it's most powerful. Smiling in the face of adversity isn't about ignoring your struggles, it's about refusing to let them define you. The Stoics taught that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Smiling is one of the simplest, yet most profound ways to demonstrate this control. I once worked with someone who had an incredible ability to lift the mood of everyone around them, simply by smiling. It wasn't forced or superficial, it was genuine. They approached every interaction with warmth and positivity, and it was impossible not to feel inspired by them. Watching this person taught me that a smile isn't just an individual act, it's a gift. It's something you give to others that can brighten their day in ways you might never fully understand. Smiling also has a way of bringing you into the present moment. When you focus on smiling, you're not stuck in the past or worrying about the future. You're grounded in the here and now, fully engaged with the world around you. This is a key principle in Stoicism. To live in the present, to fully experience the moment without being weighed down by regrets or anxieties. Smiling helps you embody this principle in a tangible, accessible way. One of the most surprising things I've learned about smiling is how it builds trust. When you smile, you signal to others that you're approachable and open. It creates a sense of safety and connection that allows relationships to deepen. I've seen this happen in both personal and professional settings. A genuine smile can break down walls and open doors, sometimes in ways you never expected. Smiling isn't just about positivity, it's about resilience. It's a way of saying, I'm here, I'm strong, and I'm choosing to face this moment with grace. It's a simple act, but it carries so much weight. And the best part? It's something anyone can do at any time, in any situation. You don't need special skills or resources, just the willingness to try. The power of a smile lies in its simplicity. It's a reminder that even in the most complex, challenging moments, small acts can have a profound impact. Whether it's uplifting your own mood, building stronger connections, or creating harmony in the face of conflict, a smile is one of the most effective tools you have. And when you combine it with the wisdom of Stoicism, it becomes even more powerful, a way to not only improve your own life, but to inspire and elevate those around you. Smiling, as simple as it seems, connects us to the present moment. It anchors us in the here and now, reminding us of the beauty and power of living intentionally. But life isn't always about the present, is it? Sometimes we're pulled backward into the rich, bittersweet layers of our past. A song, a scent, or a fleeting image can transport us to a moment we thought we'd long forgotten. Nostalgia can feel like a warm embrace, yet it can also trap us, making us idealize what's gone and leaving us blind to what's in front of us. Let's talk about how we navigate those emotional anchors and how Stoicism can guide us to reflect without losing ourselves in the pull of the past. I've always found nostalgia fascinating. It's like opening a door to a part of yourself you haven't visited in years. A familiar melody might remind you of carefree summer days, or the smell of a particular perfume might take you back to a moment of love, joy, or even heartbreak. These triggers are powerful because they aren't just memories, they're emotions. They hit you in a way that words can't fully describe, and suddenly, it's as if you're there again. I've felt this countless times, and while it's beautiful, it can also be overwhelming. What I've learned through Stoic reflection is that these moments aren't meant to be escaped or suppressed, they're meant to be understood. The Stoics taught that reflection is a tool for growth, not a way to cling to what was. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the fleeting nature of time. He said, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." This perspective reminds us that while nostalgia connects us to the past, our lives are always moving forward. When I think about my own moments of nostalgia, I realize how easy it is to romanticize the past. That one relationship that felt perfect, that job you left behind, or even those childhood days when everything seemed simpler. Our minds often filter out the challenges and imperfections, leaving us with an idealized version of what was. This can be comforting, but it's also deceptive. It creates a longing for something that never fully existed as we remember it. Stoicism teaches us to see the past clearly, not through the rose-colored lens of nostalgia. One of the practices that has helped me is journaling with intention. Whenever I feel nostalgia creeping in, I write about it, not just the memory, but how it makes me feel and what it represents. This process helps me untangle the emotions from the reality. For instance, I might write about a time when I felt incredibly happy, but then I'll ask myself, what else was happening during that time? What challenges did I face? This honest reflection keeps me grounded. It reminds me that while those moments were meaningful, they weren't perfect. Another thing I've noticed is how nostalgia often serves as an anchor for unresolved emotions. Sometimes it's not about missing a particular person or place, but about longing for a feeling, comfort, safety, or even excitement. The Stoics encourage us to dig deeper into these emotions, to ask why we feel the way we do. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This applies to the way we sometimes let the past haunt us. By exploring what lies beneath the surface, we can find clarity and let go of the illusions that hold us back. Nostalgia is also closely tied to our sense of identity. Those emotional triggers, songs, scents, or places remind us of who we were at a certain point in time. They can make us question whether we've grown or whether we've lost touch with a part of ourselves. I've had moments where I've heard a song from my teenage years and thought, where did that version of me go? It's a strange mix of pride for how far I've come and sadness for the parts of myself I've left behind. Stoicism has helped me see that identity isn't static. Who we were, who we are, and who we're becoming are all part of the same story. Instead of clinging to the past, we can honor it as a chapter that shaped us. One of the most practical ways Stoicism helps with nostalgia is by grounding us in gratitude. When we long for the past, it's often because we're not fully appreciating the present. The Stoics remind us to practice gratitude daily, to focus on what we have now rather than what we've lost. I started a gratitude practice a few years ago, and it's completely changed the way I experience nostalgia. Instead of feeling sad about what's gone, I feel grateful that I had those experiences in the first place. Gratitude shifts the focus from loss to abundance. There's also the concept of impermanence, which is central to Stoic philosophy. Everything changes, and nothing lasts forever. This might sound harsh, but it's actually liberating. When we accept that life is a constant flow of moments, we stop trying to hold onto them so tightly. Nostalgia becomes less about grasping at the past and more about appreciating it as part of the journey. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on mortality, not to create fear, but to deepen his appreciation for the present. He reminded himself that each moment is precious because it's fleeting. Nostalgia can be a beautiful teacher if we approach it with intention. Instead of letting it pull us into longing or regret, we can use it as a tool for self-discovery. What does this memory reveal about my values? How have I grown since that time? What lessons can I carry forward? These questions transform nostalgia from a passive feeling into an active process of reflection and growth. I've found that even sharing nostalgic moments with others can be healing. Talking about a memory with a friend or loved one can bring new perspectives and deepen your connection. It reminds you that while the past is gone, the bonds we've formed and the lessons we've learned are still with us. Stoicism encourages community and shared wisdom, and nostalgia can be a way to strengthen those connections. Ultimately, navigating nostalgia is about balance. It's about honoring the past without being trapped by it, reflecting without idealizing, and appreciating without clinging. The Stoics understood that life is a series of moments, each one building on the last. Nostalgia is a thread in the tapestry of our lives, but it's not the whole picture. By embracing this perspective, we can find peace in the flow of time and truly live fully in the present. Reflecting on the past with balance gives us clarity, but clarity alone isn't enough to navigate life effectively. What truly defines the kind of life you build is your character. The decisions you make, the way you handle challenges, and the consistency of your actions are what shape how others see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Strong character creates trust and stability, while weak character leads to unpredictability and doubt. Let's explore why this difference matters so much and how Stoic principles can help us develop the resilience and consistency that define a strong character. When I think about strong character, one word comes to mind: reliability. It's the ability to show up, do what you say you'll do, and stay grounded no matter what's happening around you. I've had the privilege of knowing people like this, individuals who, even in the face of chaos, remain calm, composed, and dependable. They don't just say the right things, they follow through with action. Being around them feels steady, almost like standing on solid ground. But here's the thing, that kind of character isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one choice at a time. On the flip side, weak character is often marked by unpredictability. We've all encountered people who are inconsistent. One day they're reliable, the next they're nowhere to be found. It's not just frustrating, it creates a sense of mistrust. You can't rely on them, and over time, their behavior starts to affect the way you view them. I've been in situations where I put my trust in someone with weak character, only to be let down repeatedly. It's a painful lesson, but it's also a valuable one. It taught me the importance of surrounding myself with people whose actions align with their words. What the Stoics teach us about character is that it's built through resilience and discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This idea resonates deeply with me because it's not about talking or theorizing. It's about living your values consistently. Building strong character means being intentional about your choices, even when no one is watching. It's about staying true to your principles, not because it's easy, but because it's right. One of the key elements of strong character is emotional stability. People with strong character don't let their emotions control them. They feel deeply, but they don't allow anger, fear, or frustration to dictate their actions. I've worked hard to develop this in my own life. There were times when I let my emotions get the better of me, and it led to decisions I regretted. But Stoic practices like pausing before reacting and focusing on what's within my control have helped me cultivate a steadier mindset. This stability isn't just beneficial for me, it makes others feel safe and confident in my presence. Consistency is another hallmark of strong character. It's about showing up the same way day after day, regardless of the circumstances. This doesn't mean being rigid or unchanging. It means being dependable. I've learned that consistency builds trust over time. Whether it's in relationships, work, or personal goals, people trust those who are predictable in their actions. Stoic virtues like discipline and self-control play a huge role in this. By practicing small, consistent habits, we train ourselves to be reliable in the bigger moments. Weak character, on the other hand, often stems from a lack of self-awareness. People who are unpredictable or unreliable often don't see how their behavior affects others. They may not even realize the impact their inconsistency has on their own lives. I've been there too. There were times when I didn't follow through on commitments, not because I didn't care, but because I wasn't mindful enough. It took reflecting on those moments and seeing the consequences to understand that character isn't just about how I feel, it's about how my actions affect those around me. Trust is deeply connected to character. People with strong character are trusted because they've proven themselves over time. It's not about being perfect, it's about being accountable. I've learned that even when you make mistakes, owning up to them and taking responsibility strengthens trust. Weak character, on the other hand, often avoids accountability. It shifts blame or makes excuses, which only erodes trust further. The Stoics remind us that taking responsibility for our actions is a fundamental part of living a virtuous life. Resilience is another key aspect of strong character. Life will throw challenges our way. There's no avoiding that. But how we respond to those challenges defines who we are. People with strong character don't crumble under pressure. They adapt, learn, and keep moving forward. Stoicism teaches us to embrace adversity as an opportunity for growth. I've faced moments where things didn't go as planned, and it would have been easy to give up or let frustration take over. But choosing to see those moments as lessons has strengthened my character in ways I couldn't have imagined. One of the most powerful ways to build character is through self-reflection. Taking the time to evaluate your actions, intentions, and impact helps you stay aligned with your values. I make it a habit to reflect at the end of each day, not in a critical way, but in a constructive one. What did I do well? Where can I improve? This practice, rooted in Stoic journaling, has been transformative for me. It's not about striving for perfection, it's about continuous growth. Strong character also involves humility. It's not about projecting an image of perfection or superiority. It's about being honest about your strengths and weaknesses. People with strong character don't need to boast or seek validation because they're secure in who they are. This humility creates a sense of authenticity that draws others in. I've found that when I focus on being genuine rather than trying to impress, my relationships become deeper and more meaningful. Ultimately, strong character is about alignment, aligning your values, actions, and words. When these three elements are in harmony, you create a sense of integrity that others can feel. It's not something you achieve once and for all. It's something you work on every day. Weak character, by contrast, is often marked by misalignment. When actions don't match words or values are compromised, it creates confusion and mistrust. What I've come to understand is that character isn't just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. Building strong character requires self-respect, discipline, and a commitment to growth. It's about striving to be someone you're proud of, even in the smallest moments. And the beautiful thing is, it's never too late to start. Every choice you make, every habit you cultivate, is a step toward becoming the person you want to be. Trust me, the effort is worth it. Building a strong character shapes not only how others trust us, but also how we trust ourselves. When your values, words, and actions align, you create a life of integrity and purpose. But the foundation of all this, strong character, trust, and reliability, starts with something even more fundamental: your thoughts. The way you think has the power to shape your reality in ways you might not fully realize yet. What you focus on, what you believe, and the stories you tell yourself create ripples that touch every part of your life. Let's explore how this connection between thought and reality works, and how Stoic principles align with modern ideas like the law of attraction. I used to underestimate how much power my thoughts held over my life. I thought actions mattered more than thoughts, that as long as I did the right thing, my inner dialogue didn't matter. But I've come to see how wrong that assumption was. Thoughts are the seeds from which every action grows. If your thoughts are chaotic, fearful, or self-critical, your actions will reflect that energy. On the other hand, when your thoughts are intentional, focused, and grounded in your values, you naturally begin to act with purpose and clarity. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This phrase struck me because it's a vivid reminder of how our inner world shapes our outer one. When your thoughts are centered on gratitude, growth, and acceptance, your actions and even your perception of the world shift. You start noticing opportunities instead of obstacles, lessons instead of failures, and possibilities instead of limitations. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about shaping the way you respond to it. The idea that thoughts attract experiences isn't new, but the connection to Stoicism gives it a solid, practical foundation. While the law of attraction emphasizes focusing on what you want to bring into your life, Stoicism reminds us that it's not just about thinking positively, it's about aligning those thoughts with action and virtue. You can't just think your way to success, peace, or fulfillment. You have to live in a way that reflects those intentions. I've experienced this firsthand. When I began practicing mindfulness and intentional thinking, I noticed small but significant changes in my life. For example, when I started focusing on gratitude instead of constantly worrying about what could go wrong, I became more open to opportunities. It wasn't that life suddenly became perfect. It's that my mindset shifted in a way that allowed me to see possibilities I'd been blind to before. The Stoics would call this living in accordance with nature, or aligning your thoughts and actions with the flow of life. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned is the importance of focus. What you focus on expands, and this is true whether your thoughts are positive or negative. If you dwell on fears or doubts, those feelings grow stronger and begin to shape your reality. But if you focus on solutions, growth, and resilience, you start to see paths forward where there seemed to be none. This is why the Stoics emphasized the dichotomy of control, focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. By directing your thoughts toward what's within your power, you take ownership of your life in a profound way. Mindfulness is a key part of this process. Paying attention to your thoughts without judgment helps you understand the patterns that shape your behavior. I've found this practice transformative. There were times when I caught myself spiraling into negative thought loops, doubting my abilities, fearing failure, or replaying past mistakes. Instead of letting those thoughts run unchecked, I started observing them and asking, is this thought helpful? Is it true? Often the answer was no, and simply recognizing that allowed me to let go and refocus. Another important aspect of intentional thinking is visualization. While it might sound abstract, visualization is a practical tool rooted in both psychology and Stoic practices. The Stoics often encouraged reflecting on the outcomes of our choices and visualizing the kind of person we want to become. This isn't about daydreaming, it's about mentally rehearsing the actions and attitudes that align with your goals and values. I've used this in my own life, whether it's preparing for a challenging conversation or setting a long-term goal. Visualizing success helps me approach those situations with confidence and clarity. Your thoughts also shape your relationships. People are drawn to those who exude positivity, confidence, and calm. If your mind is filled with self-doubt or resentment, it inevitably seeps into your interactions. But when your thoughts are centered on kindness, understanding, and respect, it creates a ripple effect in your relationships. I've seen this play out countless times. When I approach a situation with patience and empathy, even if it's difficult, the outcome is almost always better than when I let negative thoughts dictate my response. One of the most profound connections between Stoicism and the power of thought is the emphasis on resilience. Life will challenge us. It's inevitable. But how we think about those challenges determines whether they break us or make us stronger. The Stoics taught that we don't suffer because of events themselves, but because of how we interpret them. Changing your perspective can transform even the most difficult circumstances into opportunities for growth. I faced setbacks that felt overwhelming at the time, but when I shifted my focus from "Why is this happening to me?" to "What can I learn from this?" everything changed. The practice of affirmations is another tool I found incredibly valuable. While affirmations are often associated with modern self-help, their roots align with Stoic teachings. Affirming truths about your strength, resilience, and values reinforces those qualities in your mind. For example, repeating phrases like, "I am capable of handling challenges," or "I choose to focus on what I can control," might seem simple, but over time, they shape the way you think and act. It's like planting seeds that grow into habits of thought and behavior. One of the most important lessons I've learned is the power of gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for what's going well. It's about finding value in every experience, even the challenging ones. This shift in thinking has been transformative for me. By focusing on what I have rather than what I lack, I've cultivated a sense of abundance that influences every aspect of my life. The Stoics practice this through negative visualization, reflecting on how things could be worse to appreciate what you have now. It's a simple but profound way to reframe your thoughts and bring clarity to your priorities. Ultimately, the power of thought is about creating alignment. When your thoughts reflect your values and intentions, your actions naturally follow. This alignment creates a sense of purpose and direction that shapes not only your own life, but also the way you interact with the world. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control everything, we can control our thoughts. And when we master our minds, we gain the ability to navigate life with strength, clarity, and resilience. Thoughts are the foundation of everything we do. They guide our choices, influence our relationships, and shape our reality. By practicing mindfulness, focusing on what we can control, and aligning our thoughts with our values, we can create a life that reflects our highest potential. It's not always easy, but it's a journey worth taking. With each intentional thought, we take a step closer to the life we want to live and the person we want to become. So there you have it, psychological insights paired with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Each one a powerful tool to better understand yourself and the people around you. From the way you see yourself shaping your reality to the strength of character that builds trust, and even the contagious power of a smile to transform relationships. We've explored how simple shifts in mindset and behavior can completely change your life. What ties it all together is one profound truth. You have more control than you think. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, these are the things within your power. And when you focus on them intentionally, you don't just react to life, you create it. That's the beauty of blending psychology with Stoicism. It's not just about understanding people better. It's about becoming the kind of person who inspires trust, positivity, and connection wherever you go. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these ideas resonated with you the most? Maybe it was the reminder that people see you as more capable and attractive than you realize, or perhaps it was the way strong character creates trust and predictability. Drop a comment below. I'd love to know which insight hit home for you and how you're planning to apply it to your life. And if you're as passionate about self-growth and mastering the art of living as I am, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more we're going to explore together, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Let's keep building, growing, and thriving, one principle at a time. Thank you for spending your time with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.